Okay, so that was roughly 16 to 17 minutes. As you can see, all of the resources that have been applied, so you can actually have a look into 167 items actually added. So we can actually go and have a look inside our portal. So what I'll do is I'll have a look. There is a new resources that have deployed with a prefix that is called EPLI. As you can see, um, there are around like 8 resources. So as you recall, we counted only 7 in our Terraform resource group. The number 8 is actually spun up by AKS. So that is the infrastructure resource group of AKS. That is called AKS Nodes RE1, right? So now we can actually go inside and have a look at what are each of these resource group doing. So the first one is resource groups containing the hub, which is the Azure firewall, and then a number of network security groups. And then we have a public IP1 and a public IP2 for the Azure firewall. And then we have the hub VNet of the Azure containing Azure firewall, right? So of course, when you have the hub, then you need to spoke as well. So you can see there is an AKS spoke that contains a number of network security group, and there are essentially 3 subnets. So one containing the node pool system, one containing the node pool user, and then also one is dedicated to the load balancer's IP, which will be the ingress of our cluster. Yeah, and then we'll see a route table and a virtual network that essentially peer to the hub, and the route table will take all of the outbound requests into the firewall for validations whether it's valid to go out into the internet. Only the approved FQDN are allowed, right? And then we have an IP group that essentially containing the IPs of containing the IP addresses of the subnets for the node pool system and the um, node pool user, right? So that is for ease of whitelisting on the source IP of the Azure firewall. And then, of course, we have our AKS resource groups that containing the AKS resource itself. And then we have an Azure Key Vault that contains some of our secrets. So the main secret in this example that we're going to have is we have a self-signed certificate actually created by Azure Key Vault, right? So one is for application gateway and one is for the ingress into the AKS clusters. So as we have mentioned before, AKS is using an ingress controller that is Traffic. Traffic is going to use a managed identity in order to access this key vault, and then it will retrieve this wildcard ingress so that the application gateway that requires to access the traffic ingress controller application gateway need to present that wildcard ingress certificate in order to be successfully communicating with the ingress controller, right? So these are some of the high-level overview of what we have. Of course, you can, at your own time, actually go through, further investigations of the resources. Like we have a log analytic workspace, we have a jump box, we have a DevOps that is actually containing the managed identity. So this managed identity that is called ingress controller, that is actually what Traffic is going to use as a with pod identity, so that these ingress controller actually have access to key vault that allows Traffic to use pod identity with this user assigned managed identity and access Azure Key Vault in order to retrieve that ingress certificate, right? And then we have the application gateway resource group that actually contains the application gateway itself with the public IP. And then, of course, we have the app service domain. So this app service domain is actually a fully purchased valid public domain that will be used in order to access our applications.